Hi everyone, welcome back to our next video. This may look familiar. We just put out a video on the Callsun 215 watt solar panels, but we kind of messed up. And we got the wrong model number and the wrong price, and there was just so much wrong, we felt we needed to just reshoot the video, so here we are.
Yes, one of the things I want to share is it can be a little embarrassing to accidentally put out a video with incorrect information, and we definitely don't want to deliver wrong information for you guys. I want to make sure that we give you guys the right technical information, spec information, and pricing information. And so I am personally a huge proponent of Callsun because they've been the best panels I've ever used. So we're just going to redo this review, tell you why we love these panels, show you the specs. Yeah, Bob, do you want to dive in?
Yeah, one of the things I do is I follow the other channels on YouTube. A lot of those guys are much more professional electricians and solar people than I am, and so they really know more. I think I'm more in tune with you and your needs, so keep listening here. But I do watch them, and so I know, and they all give rave reviews. And so when Callsun contacted us, I said, yes, I've heard nothing but great things. We want to test them. Now, Callsun sent these to us. No money has changed hands. They sent them to us. We get to keep them. So just I correctly identify at this time. This is the 215 watt anti-shade N-type cell. And we'll explain what all that means to you. It means they work a little better and they will last a little longer.
Well, Bob, I have a question for you, because what I want to share about these is I have tried probably 10 different brands of solar panels, and I just know what works. I don't understand sort of the technology of why they work. And these have worked significantly better than all the other ones I've used. And I'm wondering if it has to do with the N-type. Like, what does that mean? What is it contrasting?
Them being more efficient is because of the N-type. Now what that means is the old one was a P-type. If you have a panel right now, it's almost certainly a P-type cell, and these are N-type cells, and that's the coating that goes on the surface. Oh. So it's just a newer, better coating. And one of the things they do is they're slightly more efficient, not a whole lot, 1, 2, 3% more efficient, but they will give you a longer life. So solar panels degrade with time. They all do. There's no exceptions. In fact, most solar panels, they will come with a warranty, and the warranty will say 25 years. After 25 years, they will maintain 80–85% of their rated power. It used to be you would think about 1%, maybe 0.5%, 1% a year, they will degrade. And the big advantage of the N-type is they degrade much slower.
Bob, one of the things these panels advertise is that they are bifacial. I wonder if you might share what that means and why that is something that would be advertised.
So if you look at most solar panels, the back is just white. It's just a piece of plastic or fiberglass. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's just white. It just covers this panel from the back. And if we'll show you on the back of these. On the back, instead of that just being white, it's a actual solar cell. And so it doesn't gather in a whole lot of light because, of course, the sun's coming down and hitting it on this side. But there's always some light that's bouncing back and hitting the back and underneath of the panel. And so they're gathering a little bit of power. And so you could easily get, another 5–10 watts or maybe even more under the right circumstances. The circumstances play a huge role. If it's laying flat on the ground, you're not getting any extra at all. There's no sun under there. But if you got them tilted a lot, say it's winter, and you got them tilted really high, and there's snow on the ground, that snow is highly reflective, and you're going to get a substantial more power out of that in that circumstance. So it's all dependent on the circumstance.
So in our previous review, we had tested with a space blanket. Unfortunately, we don't have that space blanket here with us today, but what we saw was that by putting the space blanket under the panels to provide some reflection, we saw about a 10 to 15 watt difference with that space blanket there. And what you're sharing, Bob, is that if there was something really reflective, say like snow, it might even get more.
Yes. Yeah, it all depends on the circumstances. And hey, I'll take anything I can get when it comes to sun, especially in the winter. It becomes a very big deal in the winter.
Well, you know, this is making sense to me because, again, I wondered why these are performing so much better than other ones I've had, and that explains it.
A bifacial panel will work better.
Okay, gotcha. And then the other big feature about these is that they are anti-shade. What does that mean?
Well, you know, I don't know exactly how they do it. I think it's how they connect the cells. So these are made out of individual cells that are tied together, and how they tie them together really determines a lot of their efficiency. And so the new anti-shading technology that's coming out that these guys have really mastered, in the shade, give you a lot more power. So there was a time, the early panels, if you had even a tiny amount of shade on a solar panel, you lost the whole panel. So it wasn't, you know, got 10% shade but lost 100% of power. Well, that was terrible. So here, we're going to show you where we might lose 25% of the panel and still keep, you know, 75% or more of the power because of the anti-shading. And that's really a big deal because a lot of the times you just can't prevent there being any shading on your panel at all. And the anti-shading here works really, really well.
Should we do a demonstration?
Let's do a demonstration.
All right. We are first gonna basically see how it's doing in full sun, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So right now, this panel is putting in 197 watts, which is what it's been doing very, very consistently. I've covered a quarter, slightly more than a quarter.
It's recalibrating. It's bouncing between 115 and 134. Kind of stabilizing around, well, no, it keeps bouncing. 155, now it's at 155 solid.
Okay, I'm going to cover even more. Well, it's hard to, I just can't tell how much I'm covering.
Sure, and we kind of have a sense, at least a visual to see the amount of shade that's on there right now.
I'm shading a little less than half.
Okay, and it looks like with that amount of shade, it's still recalibrating, but it looks like it's dropped to about 110, 111.
And again, without anti-shading technology, you'd have lost it all.
So one of the ways that Callsun describes this on their website is that they say that their 215 watt anti-shading solar panel features 4 independent power modules, and that 3 power modules keep running at full voltage in the shade, which prevents the shade from closing the panel down. Am I saying that right?
Yes, you are. You can actually see that there's a line, there's lines that go across, but these lines divided into 4 modules. Those 4 modules are acting independently. So basically, you've got 4, instead of having one panel that's, you cut power off to that one panel, any part of it, you lose the whole panel. These act like 4 different panels that are tied together.
Okay.
And so, you know, if you lose one panel, you keep all the rest. And if you lose the second one, you still keep all the rest. And as the shade moves across, you know, you're going to lose some of it because you've lost shade, just you have to lose some. But you won't lose nearly as much. Okay. And that's the key.
Okay, that makes sense. And yes, you can just see it right here. So I see how they did that. These do tend to be a little bit more expensive than a panel without that feature. And so that would make sense. And would you still say that it is worth the extra cost?
Oh, no question about it. Yeah. And then you get the bifacial, and that costs a little more. There's extra power being picked up there. And the N-type cell is newer, and so that costs a little more. So you are getting so much more with these panels that, yeah, they're gonna, over the years, you're gonna more than pay off the tiny little difference you're gonna pay for them.
Well, no wonder I like them so much.
Yeah, they really are really good panels. And one of the things, and it's too complicated to spend a lot of time on it, is these are 12-volt panels, which means they're running at about 18 volts and the maximum is about 20. Well, if you put them in series, you're at 40. And nearly all power stations will take 40 volts. And a lot of panels today, because they're intended to go on a roof of a house, are higher voltage. So they're around 30 volt. But if you put 2 of those together in series, then they're too much for your power station. So the fact that these are 12 volt panels putting out about 20 volts, that is a big, big plus if you know enough about that to understand it.
And I'm just learning because I really want to empower and embolden myself to understand how all this works. And I am hooking these up to my RV on a 3,600 watt hour power station.
Right.
But if they didn't have that feature, I wouldn't really be able to do that, is kind of what you're saying.
Well, you were able to hook them up in series.
Yes.
Because you're putting these together in series.
Yes.
Well, by putting them together in series, they're only 40 volt, and your power station will take 60.
I see, okay.
And if they were 24 volt panels, they would have been about 36 volt, and then they would have been over 70.
Yeah.
And you couldn't put them in series. And why does it matter if they're in series? Because you can use a shorter, a smaller cord.
Yeah.
And if you have to move them further away to get out of the shade into the sun, then you can do that with a longer cord.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, and then the last thing, we kind of already hit on this, but with the bifacial situation, what Callsun shares on their website is that it can give you 7% up to 30% more power depending on sort of the reflection.
It does. It's all your circumstances behind the panel. One way is in the winter, up not next to, but close to a white building.
Yeah.
So then the sun would come down, hit the white building, reflect down, and then if you have snow, it would really reflect back up. And so yeah, in that circumstance, 30% seems very realistic.
Well, excellent. I will share with you guys, since we filmed the last incorrect review, I actually ended up having another rig. So I am going to need solar panels for both a Class A RV and as well as my schoolie. And I have elected to go with Callsun myself, but I had options. I had options from a number of companies, and I have a history of trying approximately 10 other different types and brands of solar panels, and I personally went with these. So I think the thing that I want to share is that there is a reason I chose this specific brand, and it's just because they are giving such solid, stable power compared to the other ones I've used. So I'm really, really happy with these.
Yeah, these would be my first choice. Callsun would be my first choice because they offer you the total package of the N-type cells, the bifacial, and the anti-shading. And those three together is going to give you a lot more power.
All right, folks, I hope that you heard our confidence and heard our correction. And by the way, we make mistakes sometimes.
Boy, do we.
You know, we're a grassroots channel, and it's one of those things, none of us have formal background in this, but we sure love doing it, don't we?
We care about you.
Yes, and so sometimes our audio is a little tricky, sometimes we make mistakes like this, but we always want to correct them. We always want to bring you the correct information. And on the note of delivering correct information, I've got proper links in the description and the pinned comments to basically get these on Amazon with Callsun. I also have linked Callsun's official site for any of their products, including all of their accessories. So definitely check those out. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.